Okay, today I'm going to explain to you the importance of landing areas when you chip. Now by landing areas, all I mean is when you look at a green and the flag's in the middle of the hole and you have quite a lot of green to work with, where are you going to land the ball for it to release and stop at the hole? Okay, you need to know those for you to get better distance control with your chipping. Now what I got here is I just set out 3 cones, which is a little bit spread out, probably about 1 meter out of each other, which will help you just to work on that chipping technique to land them at certain areas and then see what happens when the ball releases to the hole. Okay, now you can do that with 3 different clubs. Okay, so what you could do is, the rule of thumb would be, with your sand iron, the ball, you can land it, if it's a flat surface and you have a nice clean lie, the ball will go 50% in the air and roll 50%. If you have a gap wedge or pitching wedge, you can work on about 60-40 or 40-60. So we'll land 40 and roll 60. And if you have a lob wedge, which is a 58-degree wedge, it will land 60 and then roll 40. So if you can look at exactly where's the middle between yourself and that flag, then you can kind of work out where to drop the other clubs. Or you could just use one club. You can use just a lob wedge, you can use just a sand iron, or you can just use a gap wedge and then just manipulate the shaft to achieve your certain roll and your certain height and your certain distance. Okay, in my case I like to use different clubs. So what I'm going to do now is I set out 3 cones here. I'll use the sand iron first. So what we do now is we're going to have a look at where to land this. Now if I had a look at my target and I go, okay, I have to land this 50% of the way, you, of course, this is now after you probably developed a nice chipping technique and you went through the videos of chipping technique, and now you're working on, okay, do a few practice swings, work on exactly where you want to land, and then treat it as a putt. As soon as it lands, look at it and see how it will then roll to the hole, which will help with your putting stroke as well, and when you read your putts actually. So from here on, what you're going to try and do then is go, okay, I'm going to try and land it 50% of the way, back and through. Perfect. Okay, so I landed 50% of the way. So I'm going to use exactly the same distance to the flag now, but I would like to get the ball onto the green as quickly as possible. Now I'm going to use my 50-degree gap wedge. Okay, it all depends. Are you a player that likes to hit the ball a little bit harder and further so that it land and then not have a lot of roll? Are you a player that likes to just get it onto the green and let it release to the hole? This is something you need to try and test by yourself. Okay, this is now my gap wedge. I'm going to drop it a little bit shorter here. So this is the 40-60 one. Boom, and let it release. And now what we can do is, you want something, or try and hit the ball a little bit harder, I'm going to use my 58-degree wedge just to get a bit more height, land a bit softer. Because of the loft, it's going to go high and land softer. And I have to hit it, of course, a little bit harder. Okay, weight forwards, there we go, back and through. Now, this is something you have to really go and try and trial and see how you feel about it. But the landing area is really important. You can't just blindly chip into the hole and hope for the best. And when you do this, as you can do with T-pegs, when you go to your practice green, put a T-peg in and just try and hit it towards that T-peg and just see how the ball releases to the hole. So by the time you get into the golf course, you'll know exactly how the ball will spin, how it release, and how it will roll to the hole. Okay, but now, say for instance you have a downhill slope, of course you'll have to hit the ball a little bit softer. If it's an uphill slope, you'll have to hit the ball a little bit firmer, a little bit harder, just to compensate for that. Okay, so next time when you're on the golf course, give this a go. You can all try it with one specific club, or you can try it with all 3 of your wedges.